So I wanted to get real clear on a conversation that I just had on my blog post about the insecurities of women and men on the platform, and let you know that being a content creator is a challenge and it's an entrepreneur's world. And you have to have thick skin to be able to produce content, especially in a mass quantity of 78 pieces of content per day when you're a brand. See, a lot of people can post content as a content creator, as a company, and the company takes the energy of the brunt of the judgment. So the object takes the judgment, and then there is some level of like insecurity associated to it, but you are actually more likely to thrive and succeed when your brand is a company. So you kind of separate yourself, and most people think in a big company that you're working with multiple people, and so that energy is spread out throughout the whole community. When you're dealing with branding yourself, you take the whole load, like all the load goes onto you, and it's based on how many pieces of content you produce a day. Now, the way that we're discussing this information with the Vaynerchuk crew is that we're putting out 78 plus pieces of content per day, whether it's a tweet, whether it's a TikTok video, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's Instagram and Facebook. Plus, he wants you to do LinkedIn and Pinterest. Well, I do Pinterest too. So all of those pieces of content are seen by, let's say, 44 million people. So that takes a lot of energy. Everybody's always judging you. You know, he says he doesn't judge people, but he's aware in observation. And he can separate an emotion away from a judgment. It's judgment, it's just not fueled by something, because Gary is very self-aware. He didn't give a shit. Do you? Now, you want to understand that a lot of these content creators don't really know what they're producing content on. It's like a confusing game because you've got a lot of people in the upper leagues, like the social elites, like it's competing, but they've never done any lessons in anything in their life except for sit on a fancy yacht in a fancy outfit. And so they're like scrounging for what their brand is going to be. But their brand always goes back to how they look, how they sound, and fancy clothes walking down a stairwell. They have nothing to educate you on. It's pie in the sky existence because they're not willing to do any sort of education. They even lie about their education. So when I talk to you about this seduction piece, is they want you to come into their platform wanting to be like them, wanting envy from them. They want you to be jealous, because if you experience jealousy, they can look over there and tell you that you're jealous. And that makes them feel secure in who they are versus actually helping an audience. Another tactic they use is confidence boosting when they post a video by initiating seduction. If they can get you seduced with sex, then you'll likely not judge them. You'll be seduced by them and your dick will be hard. And they're okay with that. But that's not ethics, morals, and values, and they're all doing it because every post they post, they know they're going to get bombarded by nasty comments. And they can't handle that level of abuse because they're insecure. So instead, they create the seduction in every post they create so that they can mind manipulate you. You know, it's like sometimes some of them are very confused minded. Some of them it's confusion. It's all seduction though. It's attempting to take out the competitor with attempting to draw you in all at once. So when they're posting a piece of content on their platform of Instagram, they already know that they're at risk for judgment, and it puts an extreme fear-based experience within themselves. So they usually take about 4 hours to create a piece of content, and then they won't even post it. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. But the sound maybe was an informative piece of content, but that doesn't look right, so they won't post it. So who are they actually working for? Sex, seduction, sex workers. They're sex workers. Disguised in clean eating, disguised in whatever it is their MO is, yoga practice. But see, they're not even grounded in the things that they actually do because they're in this facade existence of reality. Every time they post a piece of content, they're using their children as a shield. They're painting a narrative of what their life is like. They're looking for a man to support them financially. And then if they can find that man to support them with all the dots and the crosses, they'll have the man to support them, but then they'll also have the man to validate them and support them every time they post a piece of content. So they never stand on their own 2 feet in their entire existence. However, they're teaching women empowerment. An example of this is Mona Van took herself out of the internet allegedly for a year. And then resurfaced when she decided to go into a facade relationship with Gary Vaynerchuk because she thought he was going to protect her from judgment. And so now her entire platform is based on her relationship, which is a fraud, with Gary Vaynerchuk, while she's also working with the Democratic Party, which she also uses as a shield. She's still, after all that protection, she is still using seduction because that's how insecure and insignificant she is on the globe. Meanwhile, she teaches absolutely nothing. So the most insecure women will attempt to create bubble jargon in another woman's mind to make them feel insecure so that they can feel secure. It is called posturing. So with every comment, whether it's if it's negative, they literally crumble. They crumble. Meaning they're not real entrepreneurs and they shouldn't be on the platform. Specifically speaking, they shouldn't have 400,000 followers because that energy becomes the education of 400,000 people. Now, not to mention the bots are supporting her platform. The bots are what you're watching in her comment section. Hey girl, can you come onto my platform and comment how wonderful I am? I'll do your page if you do mine. Follow for follow, like for like. If I get 100 followers, I'll donate $100 to Haiti. How about you just donate $100? That's the kind of existence we're dealing with, especially when it comes to these elite model women who are like Bahati Prinsloo, who literally is a nobody and no one knows who she is, except for that she's married to Adam Levine. Her career is pretty much over. You should have been a little more thoughtful in your education versus just trying to get screwed, and I mean literally by every musician out there. See, these women have prime opportunity to grow themselves as individuals, but they instead decide to choose looks, shallow behavior, money, and psychosis over actually getting something real for themselves because they don't care about anybody else. So when you're watching and looking at a woman who's, I might have to stop my video because Zelda is about to get out of the fence. Zelda, get in here. Hang on. Sorry, y'all. Zelda, get in here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come. Come on. What are you doing? Get over here. Come. Hey. So when you're watching a woman spend all her time on her platform doing 3 things: hair, makeup, parties, and then add the boyfriend, and then occasionally add fitness as you're walking up slowly on a treadmill, probably just for the video in a bikini top. Self-centered, self-righteous, facade, boring life, nothing to educate, doesn't eat, teaching clean eating, which is eating air. While the government is pushing that as a new norm of content because she is a seductress. But she's also thinks she's controlling the mind of a man. Now, thinks is the key word here. Because he's a real entrepreneur. I'm talking about Gary Vee. He's a real entrepreneur, meaning he's got real work ethic. He doesn't actually give a shit about her seduction shit. He knows that she's a fucking joke. Every piece of content she produces is garbage, where she's masking. She has a mask on that is sex. And they're all doing it in their own way to make them feel themselves validated. They have no self-awareness. They have no humility. They have no work ethic. They have no knowledge around advancement for a society. See, they don't really connect to that, what I just said. They have no advancement for a society. See, they don't take their roles in responsibility to be about anybody else but themselves. So then all they can do, because they don't want to sound stupid or look stupid, which is a real entrepreneur does that, is they show product. And then they write boring articles, and now they're using Chat GTP. Then let's add filters. And then now add bougie lifestyle. And now we've got reptile royalty. Versus real journalism, versus real human connection, versus real education to help younger generations. I'm talking about the ones like Gen V. I don't give a shit about Gen Zs or millennials. I do not give a fuck about them. They're the cream of the crop biggest problem. Their energy is wacko and weird, and they worship the devil. They care about money, they care about clout, and they care about sex. Now imagine a world where that's all people care about while you're pretending to be nice to each other. Take a look at the movies and how the movies show you of what it would look like to be on a prostitute street. Because that's really what we're dealing with the internet. While the Democratic Party is literally promoting it. And the men, it's a different version when it comes to a man. Chris Hemsworth thinks he's a god. And he's an example of a problem for people. Use you for what he can get in the moment he wants it, and then throws you to the side to go to the next whore. Although you, as the valuable individual who has emotions and feelings, he doesn't give a shit about you, but he also doesn't give a shit about the model. But from you, he actually gets emotionally joy and laughter. And from the model, all he gets is his dick sucked. However, it isn't even that good. And then the model will abuse the girl who's actually the good one, but because she's the most insecure. Her name is Jane. However, the model is actually insecure with Thor, the god. And then Thor, the god, will take a lightning rod and jab it through Russell Crowe's chest because he doesn't get what he wants. And that's a bad god. So you understand that he's playful, He can chameleon himself around the people that it takes to get what he wants. Instead of having the big picture of his own children in mind. Although in his mind, he thinks he does have the big picture of what's for him. That means he's teaching his children to be just like him. Because that's called a power trip. Based off of muscles, based off of looks, based off of money. But the key is that he doesn't have anyone else really at heart. It just occurs that he does. But there's also a lot of other perspectives for men, because there are weasels out there like Franco, who's actually a rapist, where he's got power and everybody's trying to support him as if he is not the victim. As if he is the victim. Same thing with the guy from the 70s shows. He actually did that to somebody. But then the publicist takes the attention and puts it on Ashton Kutcher, when Ashton Kutcher is the innocent one. Harvey Weinstein, innocent. Although they hired people, it's like really crazy, isn't it? They hired people who all wanted to be actresses, who felt like they got burned by him because he's very direct. He's like more direct than me. More direct than me. He might even occur sleazy, but that's because you opened up the performance for him to be sleazy. He's a mirror of you. Because his whole goal was success in movies and film. And if you take a look at the movies that his organization created as compared to what's coming out right now, you'll see that he was a valued employee for the movie industry. But he was also a Republican. So now we're moving into politics. But you want to understand that the bad people in power can paint a narrative as if they're innocent when they're guilty. And then the industry can take you out, and you all as an audience fall for it every time. And that's called manipulation. And so it's basically showing you how these women are doing it. Because women are not always the victim. Like it's like switch. You're watching men be victimized, but it's not normal for a man to say he's being victimized. So when a woman comes into a space and does this seduction thing, you all think that every man wants it. That's not the truth. Gary Vaynerchuk does not like it when Mona Van does that shit. It's fucking disgusting. She is an abuser. She's a sexual assaulter. She's breaking the law. And then because he's a man, he has to stand there and act like it's no big deal. It's like, how does a woman rape a man? Well, this is how. So we're in an age of where women who proclaimed for a long time that men were victimizing them, women have turned the tables, and women, have you ever seen the movie with Jennifer Aniston where she's the dentist and the dental assistant? This is your message. That she was forcing her dental assistant to have sex with her. That's what we're looking at in society at this time, where women are actually violating men, yet you're still living in a fake narrative that it's the other way around. Take a look at what you're wearing. Take a look at your lack of professionalism. Take a look at your Instagram page. Go look at my Instagram page. And then go look at Mona Van's Instagram page and how all she does is stand there seductively or walk in a pair of heels. Creating sex, and that's all she creates, while she attaches it to a fake brand called clean eating. while she's completely insecure in every form, which way that she pulls it. Every way that she pulls it, she is the most insecure individual on this planet. And the only thing she's got behind her is some weird ass energy of facade of Persian culture attached to the Democrats. It's called mind manipulation. So I hope I was able to paint the picture for you of what's actually going on these platforms when it comes to the seduction factor. I just really had a major breakthrough last night when watching Thor. We also saw a child at the end of that movie yesterday who's a complete brat. No parenting was done with that child in the movie, which means you all need to learn how to reparent. And that's the energy of the future if you do not handle this shit. More evil shit brought to you by Hollywood. You think because you were in a Captain American outfit or a fucking movie about Guardians of the Galaxy that means shit about you? Give me a fucking break. You all are nothing more than just people on this planet pretending to be other people. You all are clueless. You're selfish. You're sadistic. And all you give a shit about is your dick and your vagina. And that's a sick way to live. Not to mention how you hurt people and you laugh about it. Y'all just movie stars pretending to be something but just trash. You're just trash.